A data science's approach to predicting the 2016 presidential election by Ying and James McMillen. The team first reviewed top issues that were most likely to influence the outcome of the presidential election. This was done by looking for issues that had the largest separation between the Democratic and Republican voters. You'll note a significant difference between Affordable Health Care Act support, government spending cuts, decrease in military spending, and stricter gun control. The statistics based on these factors were then later applied to each individual state based on the poll results for those states. Electoral votes were summed by each state, and based on that sum, the Republicans would win based on these contributing factors. The team then conducted an independent study. The poll asked 10 different questions, and we had 14 responders. Of the 14 responders, 71% said they believed that Donald Trump would win the presidential election. 36% believed that Hillary Clinton would win the presidential election in 2016. I think it's a very important factor to note that 64% of the responders said that they would rather vote for Mickey Mouse than Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. This left a question for the survey and for the team to question if we should have asked in the survey if they were more likely to vote for Donald Duck or Goofy, because these two factors were more closely aligned to the candidates. Please note that all other survey results aligned directly to the Republican Party. The goal of this project was to conduct a statistical analysis to test the hypothesis. The null hypothesis that the Democratic Party would win the 2006 presidential election. The alternative hypothesis that the Democratic Party will not win the 2016 presidential election. The team conducted multiple approaches to analyze the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. The first approach, among many, was to look at the historical trends from 1960 to 2012. The team counted the number of times each party won in the last 14 elections, with the majority winning of all 2016 electoral votes were granted to that particular state. Based on this analysis, the Republican Party was given 280 electoral votes and would win the 2016 electoral election. Another approach was to take the trends from 1976 to 2012. In this approach, the percent of times that a state's electoral votes were allocated to the Democratic or Republican Party were calculated. So a percentage was calculated for the overall from 1976 to 2012. Based on this percentage, electoral votes were granted to each individual state. 280 again were given to the Republican Party, and the Republican Party would win in 2016. Another approach was a regression model based on the trends between 1980 and 2004. The team developed the regression model based on historical trends and percentages of times that a state would either went Democratic or Republican. And in this case, 276 were granted of the electoral votes were granted to the Republican Party. This was done by scoring each individual state with the regression model. The higher score between the Democratic or Republican model was given the electoral votes were either given to one of those two parties. Again, 276 were given to the Republican Party. Another thing that the team looked at was to look at poll results from the national poll of 2070 to win, which indicates as of today, 280 votes would go to the Republican, 280 of the electoral votes would go to the Republican Party, which I think it's very important to note that 280 is equal or close to all three of the approaches that the team reviewed in this presentation. Based on the approaches reviewed in this presentation, based on other approaches that the team took, the conclusion is to reject the null hypothesis. This means that the final conclusion is that we will either have Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, or Donald Trump as the President of the United States as of January 20th, 2017.